NBC4 News at 11 a.m. starts with breaking news.
Now at 11, we begin with breaking news. A deadly end to a pursuit in San Clemente. Deputies tell us a driver of a stolen U-Haul hit a car and then killed an innocent person. You see all of that active scene there. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Annabelle Sedano. The crash happened just before 8 this morning. More than 3 hours later, the scene is still very active. Guad Venegas reports for NBC4 and Telemundo 52. He joins us live with what we know so far. Guad, and I still see those police cars behind you.
Annabelle, good morning. Yes, you can actually see the accident right behind me, where the vehicles that were involved are still there. We're at the corner of Ola Vista and Granada, just west of the 5 freeway. You can see some of the detectives doing the work here. Now, the information we've gotten from the PIO for the Sheriff's Department is that all of this began just blocks away from this intersection when Sheriff's deputies attempted to stop that U-Haul vehicle that had 2 individuals inside, a driver and a passenger. It did not stop, and that's where the pursuit began. When they got to this intersection, there was a vehicle that was crossing the intersection, and that's when the U-Haul crashed into that vehicle. You can see part of that just to the left of that sheriff's vehicle that we're seeing the back, that SUV. You can see a door open. That is the SUV that the U-Haul crashed into. Now, the information that we have is that there were 4 individuals in that SUV. The driver of that SUV died at the scene of the accident, and 3 others were taken to a hospital. 3 passengers. We don't have any specific information on the condition of those 3 individuals that were taken to a hospital. Meanwhile, there were 2 individuals in that U-Haul, the driver and a passenger. According to officers, both have been apprehended. We're going to hear from the public information officer who spoke to us just a few minutes ago about how this began.
It was a pursuit. What initiated it was deputies investigating what they believed to be a suspicious vehicle. One of the reasons that I understand they believe it was suspicious is because the vehicle had no license plates. When they tried to attempt to stop that for that violation, that's when the vehicle fled.
And you can see that vehicle, that U-Haul vehicle behind me, the area where the license plate should be. There is, in fact, no license plate there. So as of now, the good news is that both individuals that were inside of that U-Haul have been apprehended by police. Now, one of the details that the public information officer shared is that one of the individuals in the U-Haul stayed for a few minutes and then took off running. Eventually, they were able to find him when people called about a man walking next to the freeway, and they then brought in a police dog. So a canine was used to detain that individual. He is now receiving medical care before he is going to be taken to the police station. So that's the information that we have right now as detectives continue looking through the scene. Now, we also asked about this U-Haul, what they believe it was being used for, or if there's any objects inside of maybe something that was stolen. They could not share that information. They said that detectives are evaluating what is inside of that U-Haul at the moment. Annabelle?
Just a terrible accident there. Guad, thank you so much for that. Appreciate your help. We have more breaking news. A Palmdale woman who pleaded guilty to first-degree murder in the tortured death of her 8-year-old son, Gabriel, was in court this morning in downtown L.A. 42-year-old Pearl Fernandez filed for a resentencing, contending she could not be convicted of murder due to changes in state law. A judge denied her request. She's serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole for the May 2013 killing of her son. Her boyfriend, Isauro Aguirre, was sentenced to death. His automatic appeal to the California Supreme Court is pending. Now to the latest on the war in the Middle East. President Donald Trump is making new threats this morning against Iran. If a deal to end the war isn't reached soon, President Trump says he would obliterate Iran's water and energy infrastructure. According to the president, there is progress in the talks, but Tehran is calling U.S. proposals unrealistic. Meanwhile, Iran says it's ready and waiting for a ground invasion as thousands more U.S. troops arrive in the Middle East. So let's talk about that domino effect. Oil prices are up 60% since the start of the war, and it's driving gas prices here at home. The average price of a gallon here in LA County is nearly $6. NBC4's Lauren Coronado is in Long Beach with smart ways to save before you hit the road.
Another increase in gas prices. We're on the corner of Harbor Avenue and Pacific Coast Highway, where prices are about $5.59 at this Arco if you pay cash. Believe it or not, that's actually much better than the average right now, which is near $6 here in LA County. I did talk with a few drivers who say they're hoping for a break soon.
I was like, $5.60. This is crazy. You're trying to, go around to different places, trying to get cheaper prices, but it's literally nowhere.
Of course, here in LA County, prices are the greatest. Again, nearly $6, followed by Ventura County at $5.95. Prices are best in Riverside County this morning at $5.84. Either way, it is nearing that $6 mark. Now let's get to some tips for drivers from AAA.
We are just reminding drivers to make sure that their vehicle's maintenance is up to date, because that's not only going to be safer for everybody on that trip, but also it's going to help them save money on gas. It's going to help them maximize fuel efficiency, making sure that the tires are in great condition. The tire pressure, it's at the correct level.
She says plan ahead. Use your Maps app to find real-time gas prices before you hit the road. Keep in mind, the closer the gas station is to a freeway, the pricier it likely will be. She says maintain a steady speed on the road. You don't want to force the engine to work harder.
At the end of the day, you got to get to where you got to get.
You still have to get to where you have to get to, regardless. So, yeah, everybody's just taking a big hit right now. Maybe it'll get better. Hopefully it'll get better.
You can follow and track prices on our NBC LA app and find more money-saving tips there as well. Reporting here in Long Beach, I'm Lauren Coronado, NBC4 News.
And here's a live look at the big board on Wall Street. Right now, the Dow is up about 130 points. The Dow has been rising after President Trump signaled that an end to the war could be drawing near. Meantime, it's now day 45 of the record-setting partial government shutdown. Lawmakers left town on Friday after House Republicans chose not to put a bill on the floor. That was passed unanimously in the Senate. The bill would have funded most of the agency outside of the Border Patrol and ICE. Meantime, the long lines still linger at airports around the country as TSA officers are expected to begin getting back pay as soon as today. NBC's Priscilla Thompson is at Bush Intercontinental in Houston with the latest.
Yeah, here at George Bush Intercontinental, there are still lines, but those lines so far have been under an hour for the past several days since it was announced that those TSA officers would be receiving a paycheck either today or tomorrow. So right now we're looking at an under-hour wait at both terminals here, but we are seeing some other bigger issues at other airports. In Baltimore over the weekend, we saw an up to 4-hour wait. At LaGuardia, there were lines that were spilling out onto the curb, and in Philadelphia, those lines were starting to climb as they were dealing with some limited checkpoints there. So operations still not fully 100%. And Border Czar Tom Homan has said that DHS agents will remain on the ground at airports to sort of help with some of this flow and some of these issues as they work to get operations sort of back and fully operational. We know part of the problem is that during the 6 weeks of no pay, of working without pay, more than 500 TSA officers actually quit their jobs. And it is not an easy, quick thing to train new officers. It takes around 4 to 6 months before those folks would be back to work. So DHS agents are expected to help sort of fill that gap a bit as things get back to normal. I will tell you, here at Bush, TSA PreCheck and Clear remain closed. So some of the challenges that travelers will still face today, even as they may see shorter lines with many of those officers back to work.
And here's a look at the lines at LAX this morning. Of all of the airports, LAX hasn't seen long wait times during this shutdown. Again, so that's some good news for us. But again, TSA officers could get paid as early as today. So we'll wait and see how that turns out. Meantime, we're learning new details about a procession in honor of a fallen LA County deputy. Deputy Levi Vargas died during the annual Baker to Vegas relay. The department says he passed away during a medical emergency. Vargas was 30 years old and was with the department for 11 years. A procession for Deputy Vargas is set for 4 this afternoon. It will start at the San Dimas station and end at Covina Hills Forest Lawn. Two of the three men charged in the killing of a rising Latin singer are expected in court today. In December, you may remember this, Maria de la Rosa, known by her stage name De La Rosa, was shot and killed during an attempted robbery in Northridge. Benny Lecon Gomez and Francisco Otilio Gaitan are expected to be arraigned today. Eduardo Lopez is also charged in her murder. If convicted, the men could face life in prison without the possibility of parole. And today, the city and county of LA will celebrate Farm Workers Day. The city recognizes a holiday on the last Monday of March. It was formerly known as Cesar Chavez Day. The day was renamed after sexual assault allegations surfaced against the late labor leader. The rest of California will mark Farm Workers Day tomorrow, which is Chavez's birthday. Now, keep in mind, government offices and libraries here in LA are closed today. State offices, courts, and the DMV will be closed tomorrow. Coming up next here at 11, final preparations are underway for NASA's long-awaited and long-delayed Artemis 2 mission. We're going to hear from the local astronaut who will pilot that journey. And today, all of Hollywood wants to get down with Brandy. NBC4's Brittany Hope has today's Hollywood honor for the R&B star.
Hey, good morning, Annabelle. It is a party on Hollywood Boulevard right now. That ceremony going to happen in like 15 minutes. We're going to show you the fans who started showing up here at 6 o'clock this morning. And a current look at the satellite and radar. We have the clouds rolling in. We are keeping track of our next weather system set to bring some light showers tomorrow. We'll have the forecast coming up next.